sure that, let me hold on here just one moment. We're having a little bit of a glitch here.
Okay.
It looked like we weren't live, even though it said that we were live. So guys, you know, I hope you're bearing with us because this is a new platform with us and we're trying really desperately to learn this procedure on making sure that we do this well. But I think we are actually live. So I'm going to go down here and we'll just make sure here. Sorry. See, that's why I produce other shows. And so I'm usually doing the production. And on our shows, I have to do it while I'm on. So,
While you're on, yes.
Yeah, so it makes it really difficult. But anyhow, as I was saying, I think it's so important that we know and we understand the journey that someone takes in order to do what they do, what they specialize in doing, like
Right.
you do yourself, because it's that you're experiencing that really comes out and makes you the professional that you are, you know, really.
Well, that's where my passion comes from, is my childhood and watching my parents fight and thinking, what can I do? How can I felt like in my book, I say that I became a therapist at the age of 10, going into their bedroom, trying to calm them down. So it was my passion from way back then. And then it's just grown and grown. And I've written the books and I've been on the talk shows, and I actually even had a radio show for a while here in Denver.
Yeah, it is true. Sometimes what we experience in our lives is what makes us really good at what we do, because we've gone through the pain and we've gone through the journey that we're trying to encourage someone else to walk through. We've walked that path. So I admire you for what you do, because I think you.
Well, and let me tell you that the first book, I'm just now thinking about this, came after my divorce, of course, because I was married for 3 years and it was so painful that it stirred up all kinds of things inside of me. And so I just started writing, and I worked on it off and on for several years before it actually became a book, trying to deal with my own issues.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. And you've written many articles. Your website is called carolynsays.com. And you've got many articles on there, many informational pieces that people can use. And so I would encourage everyone to go to your website, because I think it's very encouraging to read some of the articles that you've written. And so let's go right on into the one that we're going to be talking about tonight, which is the 10 things men wish women knew, and also the 10 things that that women wish men knew, but will never tell them. And I thought, wow, that's something, because there are a lot of things that the opposite sex experiences, but they don't really necessarily share it with us. And I think especially you guys, because you guys kind of, you know, ego it up and you don't want to share, right?
Okay.
He's just going to buy into it. You're just going to buy into it, huh?
Yeah. So you want to start with it and share some of them?
I think I'll start just anywhere in the middle, if you don't mind, because one of the main ones, I think, is that we women say we want a strong man. And we do. We want a strong man. But what happens is that a lot of times we get mistaken into what is a strong man, and it's really someone who is controlling. And so then we don't like what we chose. So, you know, we don't let the men know we're not really looking for someone to control us, to dominate us, take care of us in those ways. And so they think they have to stay macho.
In other words, we want a strong man in our lives. Oh, but by the way, here's the rules and regulations for you to be a strong man. Yeah.
You got it.
Here's
you got it. We have our own idea. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We want you to be a strong man, but under our parameters.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I mean, all of these are the ways that men and women miscommunicate, or couples miscommunicate with each other. So, Shall we kind of go down the list? By the way,
Yeah, there was one I
this is
circled
in my
here, which
book.
I kind of liked on the things women wish men knew. It was, I want to take care, I want you to take care of me. So I want the man to take care of me, but I don't want you to exercise the control that you have over me. And I tell you what, that hit home for me, because I thought to myself, I do like a man to kind of take charge, but I don't want you to rule me. I don't want you to be like that kind of thing. And I thought, that really hits home. And I wanted to be able to share that, because I think there's other women out there that feel the same way. And
especially financially, a lot of women still want men to take care of them financially, but with taking care of someone financially does come control. And so, if they have the responsibility, they get the control.
Yeah. But here's the thing is, if you're a couple together, you pull your thoughts or you do whatever together, you don't necessarily have to be controlling. You can be in charge, or, take care of what needs to be taken care of in a soft way, in a loving, affectionate way, versus ruling the hand and saying, well, I'm in charge of the money and therefore you're not going to be doing this, this, and that.
Of course, but it depends on the deal that is made up front. And most people don't make a deal up front.
My question, Carolyn, is a lot of what you have written and your remarks and statements make a great deal of sense. Why does there have to be roles? Okay, in other words, what you just addressed finances, okay? And that's a very important aspect to a relationship. I understand that and I get it. But does it have to be roles?
Roles or rules? Which are you asking?
I think you're saying roles with regards to a woman's role and a man's role.
Or it's like, okay, I'm the man, I earn more, therefore I'll control the finances.
Yeah, but here's the thing: is women are earning more nowadays than.
Well, that's
so the tables are turned, right?
Right. Absolutely.
What you should.
I'm gonna put you in the corner. What's your
what
rule?
What I think a couple should do is who's better at financial management, irregardless of who earns more over the other.
What do you think about that, Carolyn?
Well, here's the problem. It's how we grew up. And so many people think things should be the way their parents were, or even if they don't think that it should be, they just automatically go into it. So that's why I'm saying not rules that have to be made, but deals. You have to make deals as you go into a relationship, even if it can be the traditional role. The man can be the provider or vice versa, and the woman can take care of the children. But if there isn't a deal, they're going to fall into all the dysfunction that their parents did. So it has to be a deal. And it's even better if it's a written deal. Like, while I'm taking care of the kids, you put X amount of money into my own personal account. Besides, we have the joint account for the bills. A deal, so that nobody feels taken advantage of. But if I'm taking care of the kids, that doesn't mean you don't have to do X, Y, and Z with the kids. So we get all this cleared up and we talk about it and have it all cleared up as we go into the relationship. Then there aren't things to fight about.
Okay, the finances are probably one of the most powerful interactions in a relationship that you'll have. And I guess I'm talking as much on a personal basis as anything else. Okay. It's like, for me, it's who's better at handling it, not, it just people can get carried away with that, and then what happens is it seems to detract or pull away or bring down the relationship, because it's one perceives that the other isn't doing something correctly. Okay.
Well, That's why you have to figure out, it can't just be who's better at it, because I mean, that makes sense, but the person who's better at it is going to probably be mad at the other person who isn't better at it, whether it's male or female. So they're going to have fights about it. So there has to be a deal going into it. You have to agree, like the man that I live with, he's better at it. Okay. But I don't want him telling me, because I'm better at it, you need to do this, this, and this. No, 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 no. I have my personal money over here that I can do whatever I want with. And he does better at managing all the joint finances and everything.
Right.
But we've talked it through and we have deals about it.
I think what I'm hearing from you, Carolyn, is that what I'm understanding is really communication. And you've said that many times on the show. Is understanding the communication and not using a strong arm if one person tends to, and might not even know if it's better at it, but maybe they just like doing that. I mean, I know that in my marriage, my ex and I took care of all of the immediate finances. You know, there was so much money that was put into the household finances, and I took care of that, grocery shopping, all that stuff. He took care of the long-term projection finances, what we put into investments, how we did things like that. He was much better at that. I knew nothing about it. So, you know, that was kind of what we did.
He is your ex. Did that part work out? I mean, I know the relationship.
It worked out beautifully until we got divorced. And then he, you know, all of the finances that we had long-term disappeared. So
the deal sort of evaporated.
Yeah, like
you needed to have more control over those, right?
Yeah. So therefore, that women, you know, and men, if you are letting the other party take care of your finances, you definitely want to still keep an eye on what's going on.
But
keep the pulse of what's going on.
Aren't the finances, as much as anything else, just sort of indicative of the type of relationship that you have? In other words, okay, finances are a very, very powerful aspect to any relationship. Who's going to do what? Who's going to take care of what? But does that also go down the list of how the relationship is going to be in every other aspect?
Well, what do you
Who's
think?
going to pick the vacation spot?
What do you think about this? I mean, and remember, we are in the dating realm of it, so we might not be totally into that.
And plus, keep in mind, this is coming from a guy that there's so many of these things that we're talking about are secondary to me.
Yeah.
Sweetie, I want you to be happy. Please be happy. You being happy makes me happy.
Right. Okay, so let's for a minute, because Carolyn, you have
one of the biggest mistakes
items in here about emotion. So let's talk a little bit about the emotional aspect of it.
Yes. You see which one it is? Because I don't know which one you're talking about.
No, I don't. But I do know that there was one where the it says here about the man, it says, I fear deep, intense relationship because I'm afraid I'll let you manipulate me and that it threatens my masculinity. So, you know, going in there, you know, the man is saying, you know, he's a little bit afraid of really kind of laying it down, right? He's afraid of giving it all because you're going to take advantage of that.
Well, then a number 4 on the women's side is I want you to be warm and emotional, but it scares me when you tell me your problems because I still don't believe I'm as strong as you are. So I need to know I can depend on you to protect me. So a lot of times when a guy is a very emotional guy, we kind of make fun of him. And when we think he isn't strong like I thought, but yet we say we want an emotional man.
Right.
So, do we or don't we?
I know. Yeah.
So men have a right to be afraid sometimes to tell us.
Well, and I think too, don't we have to step back? Because if we're expecting them to be the protector, why can we not be, you know, also the same kind of person that we want to protect them? You know, we want them, you know, speaking from a woman's point of view, we want to be able to give you what you need to be able to protect us, you know. So, you know, you've got to work together as if you're starting to date and you're serious about each other, you have to work together as a unit, right?
Well, and that's exactly, equal relationships are the only healthy ones. That doesn't mean you have to make exactly equal money or be exactly the same emotionally or anything like that. It just means that you both carry burdens. Back to your financial one, Kit. Yes, a lot of times if someone is carrying all the financial weight, then the relationship starts to go out of balance that way. And that person might get more of the power or whatever. But I mean, whether it's a man or a woman. So, but also if a woman is too vulnerable, or a man is too whiny, plays that kind of a role, then it goes out of balance too. And the man feels, or whoever feels like they have to be the protectors. So it's about trying to keep the relationship in balance as far as power goes.
Yeah, that's really good advice. That's very, very good advice about keeping it in balance, because, like anything, if it's out of balance, it's not going to work. It's going to be painful. Right. It's going to be difficult. And so You're so right with regards to that. So why should we think of our relationships as trying to make it balanced?
No.
Right? Say yes.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Yes. And
that works. That works for me.
Say yes, dear. Say yes, dear.
You overpowered me.
And you loved every moment of it.
See, one of the others, number 3 on the list is for women, when I'm able to get power or control in a relationship, I'm just as likely to abuse it as men are.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to tell you that, though. I'm not going to tell a man that, but it's the truth.
Mm-hmm. And you love that, don't you? No, abuse. You want to be abused, don't you?
Yeah, I just can't wait. Abuse me.
Yeah. Well, it's a fine line we cross, I think, when we're trying to build a relationship with someone. It's a give and take. It's like you said, it's a balance. And you're a very wise woman to, be able to share this with us and make us be aware of what maybe we're doing, that we're not conscious about it. We're not
because we've learned it. We've learned it, and it's just automatic, but it is for men too. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I listen to all of this, and you're a sweetheart. You're a wonderful, sweet lady, and I'm so glad we've had this chance to talk with you.
I hear a butt coming. No. but
I hear a
butt. I just don't see the best relationships as being all that difficult. The best ones are where everything flows.
I don't know, though.
I mean,
yeah, but it doesn't. Okay, are you single or married, or or do you have someone you know?
You don't want to know my
single.
You don't want to know my history. Okay.
Well, I'm trying to find out if there's validity to what you're saying.
Okay. What I'm saying is, me personally, I'm a very easygoing, and Cece can attest to this. I'm not going to tell you anything that Cece doesn't know about me already. So thankfully I have a witness. Okay. I'm a very easygoing, laid back, down to earth, level-headed, as much as anybody you'll ever meet. So much of the little details to me that have destroyed relationships just it don't make any sense. Okay.
Yes, but laid back people don't speak up and say what's bothering them and what they want, so things don't get fixed.
But in that regard, I did, and it didn't register. It didn't hit home, and I did it in a very conversational, quiet,
unemotional way.
Yes. Yeah. I said.
Oh, that's not good.
I said, we need to sit down. We need to discuss this. I'll pour you a glass of wine. I'll pour me a glass of wine. We need to discuss this. My second marriage, I was married to someone addicted to casino gambling, and it was just not going to work. Okay. And many times we need to talk about this. And I would be sit down, let's talk. never raised my voice, never screamed or yelled, never threatened. I don't believe in any of that. That's not how you solve a relationship problem.
Well, you didn't solve yours, and I totally disagree with you. I think you're passive. I think you did need to show anger, and I think you did need to lay down some rules. Okay, I think you were passive.
Yeah, because it's not setting your boundaries. When this situation first started, that's when you should have said, "Whoa, back it up."
Exactly, right from the beginning, and that's where you deal with money issues too, right then and there.
Right.
So,
so that brings us to a very good point. I mean, to break into your story, your journey.
Oh, go ahead, break in.
But that brings us to a good point that as we're moving through, transition into dating, we have to set our boundaries. We have to keep our eyes open and be aware of what's happening, both men and women, right?
Absolutely. You have to let somebody know. I mean, okay, I'm in a 31-year good, happy, healthy relationship with a man. Okay, and early on, he was just recently divorced, and he would do things like say he was coming over at a certain time and then not show, and things like that. And I started setting boundaries, and I said, no, this is not okay with me. You want your Friday nights with your buddies since you're recently divorced? Fine, then don't make plans with me. And so I made plans with my girlfriends. And I said to him, go out with your buddies. And then he started calling me, where are you? Can we get together? And I said, no, this is your time. And then finally he said, you know what? I don't want Friday nights with my buddies anymore. I'm like, oh, okay. And then he never did anything like that again.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think that we do, as we're dating, that is the time that as we're building a relationship, that's the time for us to be able to say what really works for us and what it doesn't, and do it in a way, that's not, argumentative.
Confrontational.
Yeah, if we possibly can do that.
Confrontational is okay.
Yeah.
When he didn't show up, when he stood me up, I needed to be confrontational and say, this is not okay with me. You can't do this to me. That's confrontational. You were passive.
Carolyn, I certainly stressed in those conversations, and my voice, I'm sure, reflected it without screaming or yelling. My voice reflected that this is not going to work for me.
Okay, did you set a boundary?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. What boundary did you set?
It was just blown off.
No, what boundary did you set? What boundary?
That there had to be some sort of limitations on this behavior and this activity.
Period. Or what would happen?
Or we're going to have to think about doing something else. I left it. I always left it like sort of open because I don't believe in threatening.
That's not a boundary. That's not a boundary.
Yeah, but that becomes a threat, and I don't believe in threatening.
And that's the only time people change their behavior is in a threat. You say, here's what I need. Here's what I want. Here's the 4 steps to healthy communication.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Let me finish.
Go ahead.
I feel upset when you go spend all of our money like that. Here's what I want. I want us to set a limitation, and that's all you can take out for a certain length of time, blah, blah, blah. Will you do that? If not, I'm going to take charge of the bank account, or I'm going to, you can go to divorce if you want, but there has to be a threat for somebody to change their behavior, what they're doing.
Right. And so here's the thing, it's what I'm hearing from you and also from you, Carolyn, is that when you get to this point where it's something that's truly bothering you, that's truly to the core of who you are, and you can't, something that you just can't just pass it over.
Although you should do it a little bit early on, like you said, early on.
You've got to address it. And so by addressing it, you can be firm on how you feel about things. And it's not disrespectful to be firm that this kind of behavior, I'm not going to tolerate. And
exactly.
this is not what I want in my life. This is not
but
what
the not tolerating has to be firm.
Right. And the thing is like, it's like being, I hate to say children, you know, because I have children, but it's like saying, this is the way it needs to be for me. And I'm not meaning to be harmful or arrogant to you, but to make it work for me, this is important to me. And if it isn't going to change, if it can't, you can't adjust yourself or compromise or do whatever it takes in order to be okay with it, then we're not the right match. And I think that's what you were finding. You were finding that somehow, somewhere along the line, you guys grew away from each other. Her priority was something else. She had an illness. I mean, it's addiction is an illness. But you then decided, this is not working for me. This is not what's going to be for me. But the thing is you might have been at the beginning able to turn this card around if you had not been so passive about it. But, you know, neither here nor there.
Right. And part of my, if you want to call it an argument, part of my end of the discussion was, if you care about this relationship, this marriage, as much as I do, then you're going to pay attention and you're going to like, okay, how can we fix this so we're both happy?
Right.
Why should I have to lay down rules, regulations, and bullshit?
Well, okay, that's okay. As we're talking,
you and I can agree to disagree on this. You and I can agree to disagree on this.
Yeah.
Because I disagree and you disagree, but that's okay.
Right.
We can disagree.
But as we're talking about dating, okay, not necessarily your past relationship, we're talking about dating. But when you see that there's something, Carolyn, like this that's disruptive to you, that you feel that it's a deal breaker to you, the best way to handle it is to really come out in the open and discuss it, right?
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about what you recommend.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to be firm about it. So when we're talking about, to the 10 things that men wish that you knew, and
I want to go to the availability one. Can I go
let's
to
do that, because I think that one's important.
It's number one on the men's side, and it's that men wish women knew. I'm sorry. The more available you are to me, to a man, the less I want you.
Right. Now, why do you think that is?
Women don't know that.
Yeah. Do you think that's because a man kind of still likes that, a little bit of a chase, a little bit of a challenge?
Yep. Absolutely. There's an old saying, I think it was by Groucho Marx, that I would never belong to any club that would have me as a member. Okay. And that's part of it. It's
I remember that one.
If you're chasing me, something must be wrong with you.
Yeah.
You're not good enough for me. If you're chasing me, you're not good enough.
Right.
That's how they see it.
Let me ask you about the roles have started to kind of change a little bit because women are becoming more aggressive, more masculine. Bruce Starr says a lot.
More choosing, the men.
Right. And so what is your opinion on that?
I think it's true either way. I think it's true for women too. On the women's side, one of the things that women wish men would know is that I want you to shower me with gifts, but if you do it too quickly, I'm going to think you're a jerk or a creep. If anybody chases, whether it's male or female, the other person usually, I always did this. I said, okay, you meet, you're equal. One person starts chasing, that person starts going the other way.
Yeah, starts running. Yeah.
It's just the way it is. It's that saying, I don't want to be, then something's wrong with you if you're that crazy about me.
Right. Well, and I think equally as a man wants to pursue, a woman wants to be pursued. We want that, don't we?
Well, we want to be pursued, but when somebody calls all the time and they're bringing us gifts and they're, lavishing things on us, we start to use them.
Right.
And abuse them.
Well, and don't we feel that they're a little needy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody likes a needy person. That's why chasing doesn't work, period. Yeah. Right. You have to hold your own and keep it like this. Somebody makes a move and you wait for the other person to make a move. Again, it has to stay equal.
I've often said that I felt like dating is like a dance that we do, you know, and you have to kind of allow the man to take the lead. That doesn't necessarily mean that we can't kind of guide them a little bit or help them along a little bit, but we have to allow them to be a man.
I welcome that. I welcome it. Please take the lead, please.
But you got to do something first, right? They got to show up first.
Show me the way.
You got to show up. You got to show up first.
Okay.
You know, like, you know, when you're dating, online dating, you know, often a guy will wait for the woman to contact him. Well, you know, guys need to be getting out there a little bit, pursuing, right?
Well, here's the problem. Men still want to chase more than women do. So yes, we do want the man to make the first move. I mean, is it right? I mean, it's not perfectly right, but we do, because he's the one more likely to pull away, especially if we go after him.
Right. So you have a good article on your website about flirting. And I think that when we're online, we can still flirt. I mean, so often when I'm online or whatever, I don't necessarily email, you know, message the guy, but I'll do a little flirt. That gives him the idea that I'm interested, and then he can pursue. If he's interested, he'll step up and pursue. If he's not, he won't. Yeah.
I think that's excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
That you do that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Excellent. So you need to know that when a woman winks at you or flirts with you, you need to not wait 2 or 3 days before you get back in touch with her. What do you think? I mean, isn't that?
You're making me.
I know everybody wants.
I'm interested back.
But
I know everybody wants it to happen instantly, but I don't really think 2 or 3 days is that bad.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
what?
I know women. See, it's my female clients that wants everything to happen within the next 10 minutes. If I wink at you, I want to wink back immediately. Slow down. Slow down.
That's great advice.
Yeah. So what if it takes a couple of days or 3 days or whatever? And then you should follow suit. You should take a couple of days or 3 days to respond. Otherwise, it looks desperate.
Right. Now, what about when a girl gives you, like if you're online and a girl gives you the phone, he's asked for the phone number and the girl gives the phone number. Should he call promptly or should he wait a few days to call?
I don't think that matters. I think probably promptly. I do. I think.
Yes. Yeah. And you've learned that lesson, I think.
Did he have a problem with that? Okay.
Once the phone number is posted, you better be dialing. Okay.
No, I agree with that, but you must have discussed a lot before then. I'm hoping that there's been some communication before then.
Right.
So then you say, okay, here's my phone number. Well, then of course it should go ahead and happen. I'm talking at the very, very beginning. Don't rush it. Not that you should rush it then, but yes, when the phone number's given out, use it.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, here's one of my rules. Treat dating like friendship. If you met Sally at a meeting or something, and she said, hey, we should go have lunch or go hiking or something, and you give her your phone number, she should use it in the next day or two. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And if you're thinking, how should I handle this? Because this person didn't do this or do that. How would you handle it if it was Sally? You'd probably call her and say, hey, are we still on for that hike tomorrow? You can go ahead and do that. That's not really desperate. That's like holding someone accountable.
Right.
I thought we were going to do that hike. Oh, okay, whatever. I mean, then you aren't desperate. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, treat it like you would anybody else that's a responsible human being.
Right. It's about being respectful, I think, too.
Respectful.
Yeah. I really do. I think as we're dating, we want someone to respect us. So why are we not respecting them? You know, their time, the space, I mean, all of it.
But I hear a lot of that is going on the dating sites these days. I hear that from my clients, and I'm saying hold them accountable. Because if not, you walk away feeling like, what happened? Did he think I wasn't good enough or what? No. Let them know this, well, you didn't call, you didn't show up. That's all right. Because I don't want to be with somebody like you.
Yeah. No,
that kind of person.
And you know what? I'm sorry?
Then you walk away with your self-respect intact.
Yeah.
If you let people know what they did is not okay.
And if he truly, and I say, the only reason I say he is because I happen to be a woman, but
yes,
the other way around. I'm not trying to bash the other side, but if they're in it, they'll come around. When they start realizing that they didn't.
Or they'll say, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. This or that happened," and I'm not that kind of person.
Right.
But that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah. So
but at least you feel better and you know where this person's at.
Right.
I was in a bar and I gave this guy my phone number. This is years ago before this relationship, and he didn't use the phone number, right? So like a couple weeks later, I see him in the bar again, and he comes up and asks me for my phone number again. And I said, not a chance. No, you're not going to play this game with me again. I gave you my phone number. You didn't use it. You're out of luck.
Yeah. Absolutely.
If you want to send me your phone number, I'm all good with that. So go ahead.
We should give out my phone number for clients. Is that all right?
I promise to use it.
Well, let's do that now while we're talking about it. So okay. I would like to, go ahead and let everyone know
my business number.
You are from Denver, Colorado, and your website again is Carolyn Says. That's SAYS.com. So, and then your phone number. Do you want me to give that out?
Sure. My business. Okay. It's my business.
303-333-1888. So that's your phone number if anyone wants to give you a call to set up some coaching. Because
I also do phone counseling with people all around the country. So it doesn't matter where they are.
Right. And you're an expert in your field. You've been doing this for a long time. You've, like I said, you've been on a lot of the national TV shows. Anybody who's been on Oprah has definitely knows their stuff because she's a wonderful lady.
I was on 4 times.
4 times. Oh, get me on there. I'd love to meet her. But I feel very honored that you've taken tonight to be with us. Or it's just such a joy to have you on, and I don't think we've even touched on what you have to offer people, because your website is tremendous. So I think if people will go on there. Now tell us about the book that you've written, because I want to make sure everyone knows about it and they go out and get your book.
Well, I've written 3 books. The first one was Loving Him Without Losing You: How to Have a Relationship Without Being Dependent, basically is what it's about. And it's also got in it how to deal with your issues from childhood and things that taught you to be dependent and how to get past them. The second one is the one that this topic came from: the 7 dumbest relationship mistakes smart people make. And the third one, and that one is the one that has sold the best. And the third one is Bring Back the Man You Fell in Love With. And what I do in that one is I take topics like how to deal with stepchildren, how to deal with cheating, how to deal with all the different issues in a relationship. And I use examples from my clients and examples with my live-in boyfriend and me.
Right. The thing with that book, I think that would even be good if you are looking to unite with someone, because there are many issues like that you have to deal with. And so
it's how to clean them up.
So reading a book like that before you step into, that final place in a relationship, that will help guide you to be able to work out some of those issues.
True, but it's usually people who are in a marriage and wanting to save it that use that book. I mean, because this is going to tell you how to get past some of your big issues that you haven't been able to get past.
Very good. Well, maybe we'll save some marriages there. That would be awesome, wouldn't it? Yeah, that would truly be.
Actually, I did, and they were published in one of the women's magazines. The stories were a few years ago.
Yeah, you know, I have a local divorce group here in our area, and we had a couple come in together in the divorce support group. And because we talk about, you know, ourselves, our feelings, we never bash the other party. You know, it's not about them, it's about us healing, trying to move forward. They got so much out of it. They ended up staying together. And so it was really, it was a wonderful feeling to think that they didn't, you know, because that's the last thing we ever want, is to see, you know, a relationship break up. So.
Right, even though it's a divorce group, it's for people who are trying to.
But they were thinking about divorce, and they wanted to come to the group, and
that's great.
I commend them for seeking out whatever help that they got from it, and so that's awesome. So,
and what area are you in? Are you in New York?
I'm in Clearwater, Florida.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
And she is where?
Colorado, Denver,
Colorado, but I'm also in Tucson, Arizona during the winter.
Okay.
I'm a snowbird.
How would you feel about moving to Clearwater, Florida?
Nah, I already know.
Relationship. Hitting on that.
Okay,
She's not available. So let's talk about that. Trying to hit on another party that's not available.
It's not available.
Okay. Kit doesn't go there. Once it's revealed that there's a connection somewhere else, I'm out.
But thanks for the compliment.
But if you're ever interested, I'm a lot of fun, and I'll take you there.
You know why you wouldn't like me? I like to gamble.
Okay,
Gotcha.
This is the thing about me personally. In those conversations, all right, and I'm being deadly serious now. I never once asked her to stop. I just asked her to be more reasonable. Use your head. Okay. If it were you, I would say, just as long as you exercise some common sense, and it's for the sake of having fun, so be it. I'm not against that.
No, I know. I was just teasing you.
It just got completely out of hand, where that was the only thing that made her happy. And when I say the only thing, you can include a 3-letter word that ends with the letter X in there.
I'm sure.
Okay.
But remember, you were dealing with an addict of sorts, so those things, it's hard when you're doing.
She was.
And maybe you should have said, I don't want you to do this.
She was damaging us.
It's sort of like an alcoholic.
And I made
they have to stop drinking at the beginning.
That, without screaming and yelling.
Anyway, shall we see if do we have more time? Shall we see if there's more of this topic of things?
Most certainly. And something else too, I wanted to mention is that on your website, you know, I read about you, and it is so true that you are very direct in your advice. You move forward to what's important to talk about, and you focus. You're very highly focused, and so I wanted those that are listening tonight to know that, because I think that's important when we're going to seek help. We want someone to not sugarcoat for us. We want, sometimes we need to hear it. We need to know it, what's going on, so that we can accept it and try to deal with our problems. So I really appreciate the fact that you're very direct and very forward, and you want to help people in that way.
I say things instead of how does that make you feel? I say things like, here's what you need to do next.
Yeah. And I think that's good, because we need the guidance. That's what we're looking to you for. We want that guidance. And so I totally agree with that. Well, let's talk a little bit more about this one. I like, did we talk about this one about acting tough, and that the guy says he's acting tough and that he needs love. And but deep down he's confused deep down I'm just as confused about how to find it. So that's
I actually have that I have that on my list for men and women.
Yeah.
Both men and women may act strong, act tough, but they need love just like everybody else does. And deep down inside, they are confused about how to find it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Nobody really knows how to find it. I mean, they know how to go to the dating sites and go out and meet people and things like that. But making the connection is very confusing and very difficult. And especially, I think it's gotten worse because people don't let things flow very much. I mean, with all the dating apps and things like that. The guy that I'm with, Alan, for 31 years, we met in a bar and we would just bump into each other and say hello. And then I wouldn't see him for another month in that bar or whatever. And it just, over a period of 8 months, I got to know him a little and then we started dating. So you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That doesn't happen that much to people anymore. Just getting to know someone, they just jump in, and it takes time to build a relationship. It takes time to build caring for someone else and getting to know someone else.
Yeah. I mean, something for me that I've been noticing, and I'd like to know, Carolyn, how you think about it, is so often we make this list of red flags. Oh, well, if they do this, boop, red flag, they're out. You know? But you haven't really given them an opportunity to really understand why that red flag came up, you know? So we make these quick judgments sometimes a little bit too fast.
We do. And not that you shouldn't kind of look for red flags. There are some major ones, like gambling addiction or alcoholism, or if he beat his wife, okay, or her or whatever. You see what I'm saying? Those are some really major red flags. But this is a good example in that I made a list of what I wanted in a man. I told a client to do it when I was single. And then I thought, wait a minute, I should do the same thing. So I made a list. And at the top of the list was non-smoker. Okay. And then it was, attractive, good job, the typical things, right? So I meet Alan and he's all of those things, but he smokes.
I can relate.
I wasn't going to get rid of him because of that. No. Yeah. You can't, you can be too rigid on those things. I mean, we made a deal. I told you making deals is a good thing to do. We made a deal that he wouldn't smoke around me or in my house. And that back when you could smoke in bars, he would not blow it near me or anything like that. And he's kept the deal. Although he's in the process of quitting right now. So that's
Oh, well, I hope that he does, just for his own health.
Absolutely.
But I can relate to that too, because I am dating someone that smokes. He calls it vaporing. He vapors.
Okay.
Still the same as smoking. But like you, we've come up with an agreement that don't smoke in my presence. Don't like in the house or outside's fine, but in a closed, defined area.
Closed space. Right.
Yeah, that kind of thing. So so it's compromise. It is about compromise in the value of, the individual. I mean, if that person is really who you feel like you can connect with,
right?
Maybe you can make some sort of exceptions, or you can move around it, and try to come to some sort of agreement. So I think that's a very wise.
Yeah, you can have too many red flags and too many no's. No, and I have a lot of clients who do that. Nope. Hey, relax a little bit.
Yeah.
Talk to him. Right? What's going on?
Yeah. So let me ask you about, with regards to, moving quickly in a relationship. If someone, what is your advice if someone is trying to move too fast for you? Because you've mentioned in this conversation about slowing down.
Right. So
what would your advice be if that's happening to someone? How could they slow it down without offending the other person?
You say, I really, really like you. I assume the person does. I really, really like you, but I don't want to rush this. In fact, that's one of the reasons I don't want us to rush it, because a lot of times that makes things not work out. So why don't we talk in a couple of days, or why don't we get together a week from now? I've got a lot of things going on right now, but why don't we make plans for next Saturday or something like that, so that you let them know I'm still interested. You don't leave it vague or up in the air. But then the most important thing too is that you keep hanging out with your friends and doing all the things that you were doing, so that you don't let him rush it, him or her.
Right. I think that's very good advice. Any other questions you may have on
Not
that,
at all.
Katie?
Not at all. She's pretty much covered everything I need to know.
Now, the last thing I wanted to ask you is that what about, now you know chemistry is always your ticket.
Oh,
that's his hot button.
Now we're getting into my
Hot button
favorite
about
subject.
chemistry.
Okay.
But what if you have something, you've met someone and you're not just totally blown over by the chemistry? What is your advice with regards to that? Should you slow it down, try to get to know the person, or do you think you cut it and move on?
Well, you definitely should not rush it. You should slow it down. But I find that chemistry is chemistry. And that usually if you meet someone and there's not even a drop of it there, it doesn't build, it doesn't grow. It doesn't.
Thank you.
Now, I'm not saying
Carolyn.
I'm not saying that you couldn't have somebody that was working with you or that you saw on a regular basis and that you couldn't start liking them more than you did at the beginning, but still chemistry is wanting to do more than that. And yeah, it doesn't usually turn into chemistry.
And then sometimes we're just drawn in because of chemistry. I mean, we're just,
of course.
we don't know why, but it's just there.
No, we do know why.
Do
That's what we are as human beings.
We're animals.
Yes, yes. She said it without me saying it.
Oh, well.
Okay, you're already scheduled for another show. Okay,
Just about chemistry, huh?
Yes.
It's his hot button.
This is my hot button about the entire dating process. Okay. And I've done some research.
Have you? Okay, good.
Okay. And one of the things that I read was that we have a mechanism in our brain that instantly, and we have no control over it.
Right.
It instantly tells us, and we call it love at first sight.
Right.
But it instantly tells us whether we are attracted or not.
I agree.
And we don't have to know anything about the person.
It's true.
Now, what we need to do is, if that happens, we need to be able to put some control over it so we don't do something stupid.
I agree with you.
She agrees
like
with
running
me.
to Vegas.
Okay. Her and I are going to talk. We will leave you and
there's often times, and the reason I bring this up is because I also think there's times when you kind of get a feeling about someone. You're not like head over heels, chemistry is all, that kind of, but you are still interested in that person.
Right.
And I think when that happens, I think you do have to slow it down and you do have to give it some time to see if
it builds. Yeah.
Other factors you're missing, right?
Right, if it builds. But usually you can feel it. But I think it's a bigger problem, what you were bringing up when you too, is that you have this chemistry, so you think you're in love. This isn't love. This is pure sex. That's all it is. It's desire, pure desire.
Yeah, but Carolyn, I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. But what happens is, especially with dating today and online dating, internet dating, if you don't have that immediate or instant chemistry from the first date, there is no second date. You don't get a chance.
I agree. There shouldn't be.
Yeah.
I mean, except that I think people need to be polite or even say, I'm sorry, there was no chemistry for me, before you have several, or not to stand someone up or do that kind of thing.
Do you know how many times I've been told what a nice guy I am, but
no chemistry?
Yeah, no chemistry. And by the same token, I've done the same thing too.
Yeah.
you're a sweetheart and I really like you, but okay, because there's no chemistry.
Exactly.
And there's the idea that you can just brush that aside and get past it. Forget it. It's
No.
not how it works. We're not wired that way.
Right.
You're
But
just
on the other side, where there's too much chemistry, okay, you also need to slow it down. Okay.
But the thing is, if chemistry is established, let's assume I sit down with someone and I feel it right away. And let's assume she feels it. At least we're going to go to a second date, and now we can begin to ascertain commonality.
Right.
Do we have the basis or a foundation for what could be a relationship? If there's not chemistry, we're not getting to that point.
No, if there's not chemistry, there's no point. But if there is chemistry and you find out he's a wife beater, I don't care. We're not getting together again, you know, or a alcoholic or drug addict or whatever, because there's no hope in that way. But you're right. There has to be chemistry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. Well,
you know, you didn't think so, Cece?
I'm sorry?
You didn't think there had to be chemistry before, or you were asking me, you didn't know?
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I've been in relationships and there's been a lot of chemistry, but I have also been in relationships where the chemistry wasn't as strong as I've had with someone else. And grow a very strong relationship, and you know, it resulted into marriage. And so, I was happy.
Well, there has to be chemistry, but there doesn't have to be that I'm going to grab you and do you right now chemistry.
Right. Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And I've had that type of
and that kind usually doesn't go anywhere.
Right.
That we're going to do it right now.
And I've had both.
Yeah. I have too.
Thank God we have.
Because it still was fun.
Yeah.
It still was fun.
Experiences both ways. So no, but you're awesome. You're one awesome lady. I want to thank you so much for being with us today. So again, can you share with us all the information on how we can get a hold of you?
Okay. So it's Carolyn Bushong, Bushong. My website is Carolyn says, SAYS.com. And my phone number, my business phone number is 303-333-1888. I'm also on Psychology Today, and you can find me on there. And I think that's about it.
Yeah, you're one wonderful lady, and I want to thank you so much for
really, thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun.
I did too. I did too.
I spent a lot of time listening, but I had a lot of fun.
Yes, you did.
You were a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed having you come on with us. And I hope you'll come on with us again sometime.
Absolutely. Let's do it again.
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
All right. Bye for now.
Good night.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay. This is Cece.
And this is Kit.
Yes, and we're signing off from both the Boy and Girl Thing and Going Solo with Cece. We hope that you'll join us next week, same time, same place. Bye for now.
Good night.
Bye.